Vladimir Putin appointing General Alexander Dvornikov as the top Russian general in Ukraine. Known as the Butcher of Syria, he served as the first commander in Syria after Putin sent troops there. That was in 2015 in the Assad regime. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby weighing in on Dvornikov's appointment earlier today.
I wouldn't pretend to say that we know for certain that this new general is going to be the author of some new additional and more bloody tactics, but we can certainly say by what we've seen in the past that we're probably turning another page in the same book of Russian brutality.
Let's bring in now Major John Spencer, Chair of Urban Warfare Studies at the Madison Policy Forum. He's also the author of Connected Soldiers, Life, Leadership, and Social Connections in Modern War. He's been very valuable to us throughout this war, giving us information. We thank you for joining us again this evening. So listen, this General Dvornikov is known for his appalling tactics, dropping barrel bombs on civilians. But he is facing a formidable armed opponent now. Is he going to be able to effectively lead forces that have been demoralized and already defeated up north? Sounds to me like this is going to become more brutal, obviously, considering his background, under his leadership.
Yeah, that's right, Don. If you trace his background, actually, you can trace it all the way back to Grozny, actually, which we've talked about in the past. He was dubbed the hero of Syria, the butcher of Syria. He's been awarded, I think he'll move on to be maybe even the head general of the Russian military. He's been brought in to try to save this. But you're exactly right. Not the best leader in the world can only do so much with how much the loss of morale, the casualties, how many battle groups that they've lost. He's going to be pushing these units. And I agree with the assessments. I won't even say that it's possible. Clearly, he's going to try to continue to terrorize Ukrainian people and try to psychologically defeat them because of how hard it will be to defeat these forces, especially if we're talking about the Ukrainian military in the east. I mean, they've been fighting there since 2014, if not before then. They're a highly trained, motivated formation that he has to move to and attack.
You know, at least 6 Russian generals have been killed by Ukraine, putting Dvornikov in charge now. Is this an admission that Putin knows he is losing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he lost. I mean, nobody should take that away from the Ukrainians. Putin
so you say now he lost?
He lost the war. Now he started a new war, brought in a new general. It'll take decades to replace those generals, but clearly they don't even have a military that they can fight well because they don't trust their lower leaders like we do. So they bring in generals to get the generals killed. Now he's starting a new war just to try to take the east.
Okay, so you just mentioned that. Now, you said it's a new war. Russia, what our leaders, the military leaders are saying that this is signaling a major new phase in this war as it shifts its focus east. At least I should say our intelligence officials and folks at the Pentagon, what have you. Pentagon saying that they are sending hundreds of military vehicles and artillery into eastern Ukraine. And new satellite images from Maxar Technologies show an 8-mile-long convoy near the east of Kharkiv. Talk about the battle ahead. I mean, it's open country. What will Ukraine need to, in order to win, in order to at least hold its ground now, but to win this?
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, it's a different war, different fight, right? So there'll still be urban fighting. The Russians are headed somewhere. We believe they're headed to Izium, which is a key city or a city around the couple of cities around it that he needs to basically to capture and then occupy in preparation of sealing off the Eastern Army. And then maybe he thinks that he can defeat them, but I highly doubt that. I mean, it's a 400. But again, it's a 400 vehicle convoy of what it needs, to be clear, but it's also extremely vulnerable. I mean, the Ukrainians need a lot bigger weapons than we've talked about in the past. They need towed artillery. They need tanks that can shoot these long distances. They need things that can bomb it from the air. You send them A-10 Warthogs, tank killers, the Switchblade 600, hundreds more of them. But I think I don't know if I'm feeling the urgency that and the anxiety that I think is that we all should. I mean, this is getting down to hours, if not days, not weeks from now. This isn't about just keep the planes coming in. I mean, the Ukrainians got to move this. If it's coming in from Poland in Lviv, you know this, Don. It'll take a long time to get it to this fight.
Yeah.
This fight is getting ready to happen in days.
So what do you mean there's not the urgency? They should be getting weapons faster, sooner. Is that what you're saying?
They should be getting bigger weapons faster. I mean, just look at the ammo supply that it will take to fight this amount of Russian forces, and they're pushing in actually in the Donbass too. They're trying to push in that direction as well. I mean, they need thousands and thousands of artillery rounds, and they're already burning out their artillery guns. They need more artillery guns. I mean, this is a much more lethal open warfare fight that's coming.
Well, this is why many think, and I tend to agree with them, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that I think that it's going to get worse, and there is a false sense of security in the West, because if the weapons are coming in from the East, they're going to try to shut that down. And so, go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, the Ukrainians do have what we call interior lines, but they have to move them over great distances. In this situation, the Russians do have some lines back to Russia that they don't have to expose themselves like they are right now in the convoys. So it's going to be difficult to get the Ukrainian military even over to the east to reinforce it, to resupply it. There's some challenges here.
I wanted to ask you about, because remember in the beginning we were talking about, what was that convoy? Was it 70 miles in the beginning, 40 miles? Remember that convoy, right, that was coming in from the east?
It's huge, 40 miles or more.
Yeah, so 40 miles or more, but then now you have it now, and it looks ominous, but I'm wondering if this is a target of opportunity for the Ukrainians to hit once again.
Yeah, absolutely, and they should be, right, hitting it with anything they can get to range it, but you're talking about great distances here, some open terrain that makes it harder to ambush. I'm hoping that they still have the weapons they need, but this again is the urgency. They need huge weapons, MLRS, the surface-to-air weapons that we're talking about. This isn't talking about weapons that are promised. I agree with Zelensky. Like, okay, you promised a lot, but I need this fight today. I need this stuff to fight today.
Yeah. What was surprising to me is watching Boris Johnson and Zelensky walk around Kyiv. And much of that is due to, obviously, the Ukrainian military, but also to the urban warfare that is happening there. Some just regular civilians who have been fighting to hold the ring and push them back. What did you make of that moment? Were you surprised to see them walking around Kyiv so openly, obviously with military and security around them?
I mean, I'm surprised that it was Boris Johnson, and I think that's huge. Diplomatic power to show the world that we stand with Ukraine. I mean, I wasn't surprised that it's that safe there now. I mean, they closed the gates like we talked about, and they defeated the Russian military, and they stuck their tail between their legs and ran. I mean, it still could be attacked by missiles for sure, but I mean, so much stuff is opening back up. I mean, I can't wait to go visit. But no, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I was surprised to see, and I hope we continue to see world leaders visiting and showing our strength and what it sends to the world when they visit.
Would you suggest our president do that?
I would. I mean, I of course don't want him to announce it, but I hope afterwards that we can all see it. I absolutely think that President Biden should visit Zelensky in Kyiv and send a message to Russia that we stand with him.
Major, Russia's latest attacks continue to target civilians. We saw what happened at the train depot, right? And then this weekend there was a strike at the Dnipro airport. It follows that Friday's the missile attack on that rail station that I mentioned in Kramatorsk. They are destroying infrastructure, but is that the point? I mean, and isn't the point also to terrorize as well?
Yeah, absolutely. This is global terrorism. Russia is a big bully terrorist. I mean, how many war crimes do we have to document before the United Nations does more than they're doing now? This isn't a political signaling. He's literally targeting massive amounts of civilians that are just trying to flee with no military targets in sight. I mean, the list of war crimes are in the thousands. I mean, Bucha should have changed everything, but come on, what more does it take? Now we're hearing it has to be documented. I understand chemical warfare, but we have to stop it here.
Major Spencer, thank you. Be well. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Don.